The Aiglon Meditation, an anthology, edited by Theodore Senn and John Haigh. They have an editorial introduction. That's nice. Well, these are words by Theodore Senn, so perhaps we should say that. The meditation was central to John Corlette's vision for Aiglon. This commemorative and celebratory volume seeks to honor and perpetuate that vision by offering a selection of Aiglon meditations to a wider public. I guess that's what this channel also does. As a project, such a publication was approved by the founder in August 1977 in a conversation with Teddy Senn, to whom he entrusted the manuscripts of the meditations he had preserved. Before his death, 3 months later, the project was approved in principle by the Board of Aiglon College Association, but for various reasons was laid aside to await a suitable occasion on which to honor the founder. In taking up this project now, a decade later, as an act of piety and a contribution to the school's 40th anniversary celebrations, we have been mindful both of John Corlette's original conception and of developments in the Aiglon meditation since his death. Therefore, in order to provide a worthy and representative selection, we cast as wide a net as possible. Present teaching staff were invited to submit meditations. The search for contributors extended to past members of the community. The archives of Aiglon news were scrutinized. To accommodate our rich haul in one volume, we had to make some painful exclusions. Well, I'd like to know what those painful exclusions are, because we could add them to our collection online. So, comments in 2015. Some meditations, while effective in assembly, were less so in print, being too colloquial or occasional. Others incorporated readings, poems, short stories, justified in performance but posting copyright problems. Some were jettisoned to avoid undue repetition, although we sought to do justice to certain persistent and major themes. We realize that our 75 chosen meditations constitute a mere 1% of the estimated total of 7,600, most of which are irretrievable. Nevertheless, we believe that our selection is broadly representative. On the one hand, it includes the brief unified meditation as envisaged and practiced by John Corlette, the rationale of which he so lucidly provided in the account with which we preface Section 1. Meditations faithful to this model continue to be given. On the other hand, it includes meditations, many of a later date, in which changing circumstances have led to a variety of form, content, and tone. This development invites some explanation. John Corlette's meditations were given in the intimacy of a dining room, still almost a family gathering when Belvedere dining room served to assemble 3 and later 4 houses. Later meditations are delivered from the stage of Exeter Hall to an audience of some 250. The original listeners were boys. There are now almost as many girls. Finally, whilst John Corlette relied on a small number of colleagues to complement his own meditations, a larger school calls for more staff participants and presents a greater communicative challenge. Some forms of response to this challenge defy translation to print. Among these are the musical meditations. instituted by the founder himself and maintained as a regular and popular Saturday variant. Then there are the visual meditations, where the projector has provided vivid illustrations of classical works of art, or the student's account of their community service, or Patrick Roberts' review of the school year. Of the camera's contribution, we have been able to give some impression, though without the impact of color, as in Catherine Brown's meditation with its pictures of the Earth seen from space, and Martin Roberts' reflections on Manet's flower pictures. In returning from these editorial constraints to the variety and diversity of later meditations, we note other factors at work. First, it is clear that staff have felt the need to confront an ever-increasing threats to our global environment, hence the weighty documentation and dire warnings of the section on Our Precious Planet, number 7. Then fresh assaults on our manners and morals prompt the reaffirmation of well-tried values, section 4. Above all, the distinctive temperaments and unique experiences of our speakers are evident. Some employ elements of humor, satire, or paradox, which will arrest attention and instruct through entertainment. Some express their debt to incidents in their youth, to spells of menial employment, or to formative encounters. Others recall harrowing and challenging situations on mountain cliffs, in casualty wards, in refugee camps, section 8. In such reminiscences, staff offer something of themselves, knowing that the sincerity of their affirmations is subject to the daily scrutiny of students and colleagues. The meditation, in short, shows both continuity and diversity, being variously, as struck the co-editor in his 1987 extended visit, practical, reflective, amusing, informative, musical, moralistic, admonitory, and inspiring. We reflect this diversity in the thematic arrangement of sections 3 to 8. Indeed, the lack of dates for some contributions precluded a strictly chronological sequence. This, we believe, has its advantages. Thus, section 3, Contemplation, contains items that well exemplify the founder's emphasis on meditation in the stricter sense, while section 5, In God Our Strength, brings out the Christian basis and ethos of our college, sensitive to the multi-faith composition of our student body, yet true to the founder's aims and motto. Some themes elude our compartments. The Aiglon scene, section 6, brings out, among other things, the Swiss setting of our school, but the diligent reader will discover that the mystique of mountains and the value of democracy, two precious gifts of our host country, are not confined here. Consider, too, the international theme, noting, for instance, the Indian story by Nanki Singh, our only example of the rare but valued student meditation. Conscious of our privilege in this pleasurable, if demanding task of helping to preserve and disseminate the Aiglon heritage, we hope that these meditations, which have inspired its community in the past, will serve a like purpose for its present and future members and friends. December 1988. Theodore Senn, John Haigh. Isn't that a lovely statement? And so, 27 years later. It's 12 plus 15, 27 years later. I'm reading from an anthology, The Aiglon Meditation. I hope you'll join me.